welcome to Amrita by the Book. My name is Amrita and this is my booktube where it has been a quick minute since I tried to push my Wheel of Time agenda on people, and that simply can't stand. So here I am ranking my favorite female Wheel of Time characters. Now, for those of you who are new to the fandom, welcome. And those of you who've never read The Wheel of Time, the thing that you need to understand about it is that Robert Jordan began planning or conceiving of the series back in the 1980s, and then he started writing it in the 90s. So there's a lot of gender politics stuff in this series that was kind of weird even back then and has only become weirder with the passage of time and as more and more people have realized what equality looks like, because that's a evolving discussion, like we feel that we've got a handle on it with every generation, and then the next generation comes along and says, well, wait a minute. So before I start this video, I need you to understand that this is not really a video about gender politics or about some of the actions that these women undergo or perform. Like, there are other people who have made very thoughtful videos about gender in the series, and I thoroughly encourage you to seek those out. But this is just a ranking of my favorite characters and why. And for the old school fans, this is how I have been pronouncing the names of all these characters since I was 12. So does it match what you've been saying or how the show is going to do it? Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out. If I really cared, I would spend more time looking at the pronunciation guides in the books. Right, at number 10 we have Aviendha, who I know is a fan favorite, and on paper she really should be my favorite as well, because she's a badass. Like, she goes into battle, she's a warrior, she's fearless in so many different ways. She fought off a Forsaken with whatever things that she knew while she was on the brink of death, and like her legs were destroyed. I mean, she's metal. The problem is that she's also just powerfully dumb. Like, she spends the majority of the series just in a giant snit because she literally doesn't know how to address her feelings. And I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because she's young, but she's also the same age as the other women. In fact, she's younger than Min, but I think she's actually a bit older than Elayne. And I can't even give her the excuse of the fact that she's a maiden and therefore, she spends all her time in the society of badass female warriors, because even the other women in the maidens think that she's acting like an idiot. And the source of her problems is really something that she struggles with for the entirety of the series, which is that she can't find it in herself to challenge authority and tell the wise ones off for trying to pimp her out to Rand. So all her problems are really with the older women in her society, but she takes it out on Rand, who, poor thing, I don't give Rand a lot of sympathy because there's a lot about him that just irritates me. But in the case of Aviendha, I really do give him credit that he's constantly trying to do nice things for her and try to find out what would make her life easier. And she makes zero effort whatsoever, and in the end when she shows up in his tent, I'm just like, why? What have you done to deserve this, apart from exist? In fact, her chemistry with Elayne is probably better than her chemistry with Rand. I know they're supposed to be sisters and stuff, but hey, I'm just saying that if the series wants to make an update in that direction, I wouldn't be mad. Talking of Elayne, she comes in at number 9, and that is because she is a petulant, entitled ass. Her entire personality is that she's a princess, and I get it, she is a princess and she was raised to think of the throne of Andor and what that means, and also she wants to be an Aes Sedai, and it's going to be a big deal. She can see that she is destined to be something great, but the thing is, her pursuit of that goal is so singularly stupid that it constantly puts not just herself but the people around her in danger, and she's hardly ever called out for it or made to face the consequences for it. In fact, that one scene where, she successfully gets Brigitte murdered because she's being such a care for nobody. And then Brigitte comes back and she's a true self. And then Elayne looks at her and says, "Oh, so do I get to ward you again?" No, asshole, you don't. I love the fact that Brigitte basically laughed in her face because that's what she deserves. That said, I do like the way that she is absolutely committed to the fact that she is the heir to the throne of Andor, and she won't let any man try and interfere with that. She doesn't like it when Rand tries to help her because it sounds like he's giving her country back to her, and what the hell? And when it comes to politics, like, Elayne does have a fine political mind, and she does show that, and I do enjoy that, which is why she's at number 9. At number 8 is Tuon, and look, we're gonna just put aside the whole like slave holding, training the Marat Damani, referring to women like they were horses thing. Like, we're just going to put that aside, like cultural things aside, and just talk about the personality and the character. Because if we start talking about cultural things, then we'll be sitting here for the next 2 hours. So there's a lot to love about Tuon. Like, I really enjoy the mental image of this teeny tiny woman who, everybody tends to underestimate. And then she's actually like this mean fighting machine who will literally do anything, and she will rip your face off. I like the fact that she doesn't know much about the world, but she has all these vague ideas, and she's constantly at odds with Matt about it. And that whole Matt and Tuon dynamic is what really makes me like her. Somebody said in the comments a while ago of one of my other videos that Matt just improves all the characters that he shares a scene with, and that's definitely true of Tuon. I feel like more people would have a problem with Tuon if the majority of his scenes weren't with Matt. And I also like the fact that she has a sense of honor, and that even in the nightmare future that Aviendha sees, they refer to the fact that Tuon had principles. But that's also the reason why I am so mad at her, because she has the capacity to understand that there are cultural differences and that her culture is incredibly dogmatic about things that are eventually going to hurt the empire. But she is so wrapped up in tradition and in maintaining her position at the head of that tradition that she's unwilling to change, and she's more hopeful that she can just brush it all under the carpet, even when she's given definitive proof that things are otherwise. And this is one of the things that makes me really sad that Robert Jordan died when he did. I mean, I'm sad he died, of course, but I'm also sad that we'll never get to see the Outrigger novels, because I believe he was going to write about Matt in Seanchan, and I would have really liked to see that, like see how Matt could have affected that culture, and maybe he could have affected change, who knows? Because the way that Tuon talks about her family life, I highly doubt that she can get Matt to go along with that. Like, especially with kids, like Matt loves kids. He's never going to treat his kids the way that Tuon's dad treated his kids. Next up is Egwene, and I think it was on the original reread of the series over on the Tor website that the reviewer called her the ooh girl, who's like, front of class, and she sits there and every time the teacher asks a question, she's like, ooh, I know the answer. And that's why I love Egwene. Like, she's always super present, and she wants to do not just well, but she wants to do better than everybody. And she doesn't do it because she has a sense of destiny about her. She does it because she wants to be the best. It's pure ambition, and she doesn't apologize for it, and she's not nasty about it either. She's the kind of woman who, like, when you put her on the spot, she will step up no matter what. But also, she has that weird thing about men, that weird dismissiveness that the worst of the Aes Sedai always have. I feel like the best Aes Sedai are the people that understand that they need to work with men, even though all of them have their blind spot about the male of the species. But Egwene is very much, the we can control and use these men kind of person. And I don't enjoy that at all. That's literally the worst part of her. And also, really, her choice of men is just rank. I also feel like Egwene is the kind of person that the White Tower needed during this particular era of history, but in peacetime, she might not have been the best leader. She has a vision, and I think Tuon can probably deliver that vision, but I don't think Egwene herself could have, even though everyone would have revered her afterwards and would have thought that, she's like our savior or whoever. And also, Sanderson and Jordan together found a really intriguing moment to leave her character because, that weave that she discovers that nobody even knows is possible. And I don't think she passed it on to anybody, so it's lost to the winds of time. And it's literally her, and it's going to be part of her legacy and part of her legend, and that is amazing for her. So I am one of the few people I feel that wasn't too sad to see Egwene's ending in the series, because I know that it's sad and everyone loved her, or at least a lot of people did, but I think that was her purpose in the story and she did it better than the best. We're heading into the top 5 with Morgase, who I know is a supporting character, and you might wonder, well, how does she get to be up there so high? But honestly, look about all the things that Morgase has gone through. She had her mind screwed up by one of the Forsaken, she was raped, she was traded, she was kidnapped, she had her throne taken away, she had to give up her throne to her daughter, and then when she does meet up with her daughter, they have this weird awkwardness between them. Her family is absolutely destroyed, she can't even marry the man that she loves. It's terrible. And despite all of that, she manages to hang on to the person that she is, and she is a real queen, we talk about queen behavior all the time. That's what Morgase does. She protects her land and her people and her family and her heir the best that she can. I love her. Right, it's top 5, and at number 5 we have Siuan Sanche. I love how pragmatic she is, and she doesn't think twice about just using whatever she has at her disposal. She talks all the time about how she came up, the hostile environment in which she grew up and how difficult it was for her. And you can really see that in the way that she approaches life as compared to all these aristocrats that surround her. She says what she thinks, she does what she needs to do, and she doesn't care if she is offending people's ideas or she's offending people's manners, or if other people don't like it or don't like her, and she pays a price for it. At every point, I feel like she, more than any other character in the series, has to face the consequences of her actions, and she does it happily. There is no moment in time where Siuan pities herself, she's like, yep, I did this, it was the right call at that time, it didn't work out, but I don't regret it because that was my only option, and to have not done it would have been cowardice. I'll always be sad that she and Gareth Bryne didn't get their happy ever after, but I'll also always love her. At number 4 is Verin, who is the definition of a boss bitch. Can you imagine the discipline of it? The years that she spent hanging out with people she loathed, doing things that turned her stomach, convincing everybody on either side that she was working with them, and then planning everything out to the last detail. I mean, the incredible amounts of discipline and loneliness, managing to find warders who would work with her, figuring out the solution to the bind that she found herself in. There's something really relatable to me about a woman who just really wants knowledge so badly that she is literally willing to sell her soul to the devil, and at the last moment, she figures out how to buy it back. And the fact that she does it all while she looks like, everyone's tiny little grandmother, that's just the cherry on top. Right, top 3, and number 3 is Moiraine, whom everybody loves or should, because she has the hardest task in the entire book. I mean, she's literally the only person who has survived from the original dragon hunting team, and she works in secret. And then when she does find success, she's not exactly sure which one of them is the dragon, and so she needs to continue keeping them in secret. And then she needs to train the dragon, she needs to make sure that he hits all the prophecies. Like, she has so much stuff to do, and she does it all single-handedly and in the face of the most utmost two-reverse stubbornness, and she perseveres. Even after the Eilfin and the Eilfin tell her that she'll have to pay an incredible price for the things that she needs to do, she does them anyway because that's the right thing to do and that's what she signed on. And when they finally rescue her, and you can see that she's been through an immense amount of trauma, and she's probably going to be dealing with that for a very long time, but she immediately, without so much as a single moment of hesitation, picks up right where she left off and says, right, so I'm gonna be with you, right? Off we go to fight the Dark One. I love her. Number 2 has to be Min. She's my favorite of the 3, and you know what? Rand really lucked out when he met her. She's the one person in Rand's life who wants nothing from him except for him. She never asks him for anything, she never tries to guide him, she never tries to shame him. She's just a pure, supportive, loving presence in his life. And she is just fiercely devoted to him and to the cause, and I love her for it. And at the end, when she gets mixed up with Tuon, I laughed because the thought of Min in Seanchan society is just hilarious. She's going to shock so many people over there, and nobody can say anything to her because, she's the one who must not be touched. And I also like the fact that, throughout the series, everyone, treats her as if she's just, Rand's girlfriend, and they all kind of underestimate her. And then as Tuon finds out, she didn't spend all that time just staring at Rand and hoping that they could go to bed. She soaked up quite a bit of how to play court politics. She's gonna be great. And of course, she's a reader, one of us. So yes, it makes absolute sense that she's the one person to whom Rand introduces his dad. I feel like of all of them, Rand and Min have the most believable love story in the series. And of the 3 men, I feel like Rand really lucked out with Min compared to Perrin and Matt. And yes, you'll notice that I have not spoken about File. Which brings us to number 1. Who is not File. Don't worry, it's instead Nynaeve. I adore Nynaeve, and I know this is a controversial choice because a lot of people are like, how do you like her? She's so angry and she's just, does these ridiculous things. Everyone talks about the braid pulling. But look, Nynaeve has one of the great character transformation arcs in any series that I've ever read. She's fundamentally a very loyal person who will go to any lengths to support and protect the people that she cares for. And when she falls for Lan, that's it. I mean, she is absolutely 100% in his corner. The way that she is for Rand and the boys, and for Egwene, obviously she has that whole adjustment period where she needs to understand that Egwene isn't the child that she used to babysit. But she takes her lumps and she uses them to become a better person and a better Aes Sedai. The woman that we meet in the beginning of the series and the woman that we leave at the end of the series has gone through such a transformation from village wise woman to Aes Sedai of a powerful level, as well as the queen of a fabled kingdom. And I absolutely buy that character transformation. She does have her temper, and her temper never goes away, which is a character detail that I really appreciated, because it's not like she becomes a new person by the end of the series, or that she's learned her lesson. Like, that's not what's happening. What's happening is that she has learned to conquer herself and her mind, and she uses it to exert control over herself. And she goes through the ringer, like with the whole Athan Mir sub-story, which was like incredibly stupid. And I hope they do something with that in the series, because the Athan Mir have so much potential as a people, and then they just get reduced to a mean girl stereotype, and I don't really see what the point of that was. But Nynaeve really does meet more people and have to adjust with more weirdness than pretty much any other character, apart from, say, maybe Matt and Rand. But Nynaeve's story is really about a woman from nowhere who finds herself out and about in the world, interacting with cultures that she might have thought weren't even real, and then using those interactions to inform her own journey into becoming all that she could be. And I love her. And I'm so glad that she got to be there when Rand confesses his love for all the three women, because she is so honestly shocked, and she behaves like his mom, and it is hilarious. And I just love her even more for that. And I really wish she and Tuon would have had like multiple interactions, because that would have been like the match of the titans. Right, so this was my ranking of the women of the Wheel of Time. It's incredibly subjective, so obviously if you're a fan of the series, you probably have your own list, and I would love to know what that is. And if you've never read The Wheel of Time, then congratulations, now is not too late for you to start reading it. And there's going to be a new show coming out in a few months, so there's 14 books out there with really great female characters, and you should get it. For more videos, please hit the subscribe button.